Hey guys, it's me, Mr. 250, and welcome back to Higurashi. So it's been a few days. I mentioned it before, just having massive computer problems, but I think I've got them nailed down now. And since it's been a few days, thought I'd go over a little recap. So last time, we revealed to Satoshi that we were in fact Shion and not Mion, and that we are trying to keep him from getting taken down to the station, at least by himself anyway. And assumedly we're going to pick up at the station. Guess we'll have to see. The cops were smart enough to separate us during questioning. Oishi didn't come talk to me. His aim was Satoshi-kun and nobody else. I got a young cop who just talked about ordinary things. He must have been trying to ease me into the interrogation. When I realized that, the clumsy way he spoke began to frustrate me. Is Satoshi-kun alright? I didn't think Oishi really bought my testimony. He must have been trying to get Satoshi-kun to confess in spite of that. All I could do was pray that he'd keep quiet. The phone on the desk rang, and the cop picked it up.
はい、熊谷です。はい？ああ、そうですか。わかりました。すぐに。
He hung up and told somebody had come to retrieve me. Or told me. Looked like Satoshi-kun had to stay. Were they going to continue the interrogation just because he had nobody to pick him up? Although, maybe I should have been worrying more about myself. The hag had probably heard about me by now, since I revealed my real identity to the police. I couldn't hide any longer. I was going to receive some sort of punishment. I had no idea what she'd end up doing to me. The degree of punishment for a traitor is always severe in the world of the Sonozakis. The punishment must be carried out. If it's to protect the family reputation, it's carried out no matter what. Maybe I should kiss my pinky finger while I still can. I asked the young cop just in case.
ねえねえ、アメリカなんかでよく死刑囚が死刑廃止の州で捕まると引き渡さないでくれるっていう話あるじゃないですか。
ん？
Maybe it was too difficult for him. He just looked puzzled. A glossy black car was waiting for me in front of the police station. A few men from my dad's office bowed to me.
シオンさん、ご無沙汰しております。
葛西は？
Kasai had been helping me ever since my escape from the school. They wouldn't allow him to walk free.
お姉はどうしてるの？何か言ってる？
私たちはシオンさんを本家へお連れしろとしか言われていませんので、詳しくは本家でお尋ねになってください。
After saying that, he escorted me into the car. A man sat on either side of me. Obviously, they didn't want me to escape. Thinking of Satoshi-kun, I looked back at the police station. Hold on tight, Satoshi-kun. I'll grin and bear it too. The car started off roughly. It was never a good occasion when I went to this house. Except when Mian and I were really small, oblivious of what the Sonozaki name meant for us. I'd been here only when I had to attend boring family councils. The car parked behind the house. Traders aren't allowed in through the main gate. I got out of the car. It looked like Sis would be the only person to receive me. I almost spoke to her casually, but her cold gaze froze me before I could.
お久しぶりですね、シオン。新年以外に会えるとは思いませんでした。
It gave me the chills to hear her greet me in that cold manner.
ミオン姉様こそ、ご機嫌麗しゅうございます。新年以外にお顔が見れて、3問くらいの得を感じます。
I responded, trying to sound likewise.
当主は大変ご立腹ですよ。どう釈明されるか見ものです。私がするような釈明なんて別にないですし。
I had no excuse. I'd escaped from the school solely because I couldn't stand it there. That was all.
シオン、来なさい。皆待っています。
Mian escorted me, and the others followed. We went to the garden, not into the house. As we passed through the huge yard into the woods, I realized where she was taking me. When we were little, we were told to never go near these woods. I had a vague idea of what was in the back of them. I'd heard there was a hidden entrance to the underground torture room, where they used to punish the enemies of the family. The more hideous rumors I heard about the family, the more credible those rumors seemed. Well, I wasn't completely certain about any of that. I'd never expected to see the torture room for myself. We came to a concave clearing in the middle of the woods. I saw a metal door at the bottom of it. The door reminded me of a bomb shelter.
これが噂の地下実験室ってやつですね。
Ah, it's nicer than I thought it would be. I was surprised to hear my own voice. My voice was trembling. It made me realize that I was more scared than I thought. Nobody answered my question. The very air felt tense. According to the family rules, one of the twins must be eliminated. Was I finally going to be eliminated? I realized that I had been underestimating my punishment. I hadn't been aware of the real terror until now. I just thought I was. Beyond the steel door, the air had an intimidating smell. This really was happening to me. I shouldn't allow myself to give in to fear. I felt like saying something rude, but my lips were dry, and my fingers were fidgeting. I was escorted through the narrow hallway and down a few sets of stairs. There I saw another huge steel door. So this was the place. Ooh. What is that, like, awful sound? It was a spacious and utterly odd-looking room. Yeah, that. I don't know if I like that. The room had two sections that looked completely different. One side looked like a lounge. I saw several high-ranking members of the family council sitting on cushions there, looking expressionless. The other half was tilted, tiled, as if a large public bath. That was already puzzling enough. And there were those things. To be honest, they had captured my attention from the moment I had arrived. I noticed them even before I saw the lounge and tiled space. I just didn't want to accept that they existed. I couldn't stand straight. I almost dropped to my knees. But I couldn't. Two young men had been holding me by the arms since I got here. They were oddly shaped things hanging from the wall. I was just refusing to recognize what they were. I knew exactly what they were called. I see. I understood that those eerie-shaped objects were torture devices from hell. The hag sitting at the front of the lounge intimidated me in a horrid voice. She kept cursing me for a little while, but she was so incensed that I could barely tell what she was saying. I knew what she was trying to say, though. The hag was willing to forgive my escape from the school, but once I revealed my identity to the police, she had to step in. Since I had disobeyed the family rule, she, as the leader, was forced to punish me. Moreover, there was one thing that bothered her more than anything else. The fact that I covered for Satoshi-kun. The Hojo family had been seen as traitors to the village ever since the dam conflict. Satoshi-kun is still considered one of them. She couldn't accept that I was connected to him. To me, this was a bit unexpected. I'd escaped from the school the hag had put me in. All the while, I'd believed that was what she was upset about. But in fact, she said that she was the most uncomfortable with my connection with Satoshi-kun. Ugh. I couldn't believe this. Of course, I knew that Satoshi-kun's family was persecuted for their betrayal. But I didn't think that Satoshi-kun was also burdened with that responsibility.
そんなのサトシ君関係ないじゃないですか。
I almost wonder if that's not supposed to sound like that. But maybe it is. I don't know. I did, like I said, I did have to redo some computer stuff, so I had to reinstall this Voices and PS3 patch. And they had a new version on it. It was kind of weird. So maybe it's normal, maybe it's not. I'm gonna assume it's normal for now, though.
サトシ君の親は別れとしてもサトシ君個人には何の責任もない。
The hag interrupted me with a shout, which made me cower in fear. She continued slandering the Hojos, and said that Satoshi-kun was a cursed child. I started feeling annoyed. What did he do to deserve this? What was he being blamed for? It was too late when I realized I'd said that out loud. The hag looked furious. I'd obviously upset her. I decided to repeat myself, to make it very clear how I felt.
ばあさん、あんた何言ってんの？黙って聞いてれば言いたい放題。
Let me check really quick the sound levels as well. Yeah, that's supposed to be like down here. We'll try that.
やかましい！しまいまで聞きなよ、バカ野郎！
I shouted loudly to silence the hag.
だいたいあんたはサトシ君の何を知ってるの？サトシ君のことをよく知りもしないくせにまるで彼を害虫みたいに言い捨てて、サトシ君がどんなにいい人か私はよく知っている。彼が北条だからいけないの？バッカみたい。時代錯誤も甚だしい。園崎の私が北条のサトシ君と一緒にいたのがそんなにも不愉快なの？くったらないくったらないバッカみたい。こんな安っぽい色味釣りを自分で体験できるなんて思わなかったな。
Good. Finish it off with a laugh. That'll work. My voice became hoarse from shouting. My face was messy with tears. Even so, I didn't feel like putting a stop to my emotional explosion. I was all too aware that I was doing this just to overwhelm my fear. The hag was glaring at me while breathing heavily. I glared back at her as fiercely as I could. Eventually, I realized that her sticking point was my relationship with Satoshi-kun. She wasn't only upset that I had a mere connection with him.
そっか。ミオンがそういう告げ口をしたわけか。
It was as though Mion was wearing a mask. She didn't budge under my penetrating glare. That was what the hag was really unhappy about. The fact that I was in love with Satoshi-kun.
確かに私、自分が園崎家だとか、サトシ君が北条家だとか、そんなの全然興味ないし、園崎家のメンツがとか、世間体がどうとか、全然関心ありません。認めますよ、認めます。私は北条サトシ君が好きです。彼のことが大好きです。それっていけないこと？人が人を好きになるのに何か理由が必要？
I could see the relatives shaking their head in turmoil. Among them, I saw my mom. She must have been trying to protect me. But even she wouldn't look at me. Instead, she looked silently at the floor.
後ろのあんたたちも聞こえてるでしょ。私おかしいこと言ってる。あんたたちだってサトシ君をよく知れば、彼がどんなに素敵な男の子で私が好きになるのがおかしくないことがすぐにわかる。なのになんで相手の人格も知ろうとしないで一方的に。
Mion held out a hand to silence me. Then she slowly walked in my direction.
もう結構です、シオン。あなたの言い分と覚悟はよくわかりました。
Mion put her head close to mine and whispered,
シオンの覚悟はよくわかったよ。でもここまで言い切っちゃったら、シオンがけじめをつけてみせるしかない。
けじめ？なんで私がなんでそんなバカな。
シオン、
Mion's face turned cold again, and she calmly told me,
あなたの言う個人の理屈は多分正しい。でもね、あなたも理解していると思うけど、ここはひなみ沢で、私たちは園崎家なの。御三家の末席で、そしてあなたは仮にも園崎家次期当主である園崎美音の双子の妹。それが
I interrupted her.
あんたとはこっちに帰ってからどうもそのあたりの話が食い合わないですね。大人の事情みたいなことばっか。ひなみ沢、園崎家だから何？私はそんなの全然興味な。聞きなさい。
Mion interrupted me, just like I did her.
シオンは今日まで沖宮で生活するにあたってどれだけの人の世話になってる？
Chills shot through my spine.
葛西さん、奥の牢屋にいる。
なんで葛西が？
I knew why, of course. The moment I got caught, those who helped me were destined to meet the same fate. We were all subject to the punishment of betrayal. Maybe my punishment would be lighter than what they'd be going through. Kasai and Uncle Yoshiro must have been treated much worse than this. Everyone who helped me was falling victim.
シオンがどういう目にあっても、シオンお世話になった葛西さんや吉郎おじさんがどうなるかまでは考えが及ばない。
My head rapidly cooled down. My aggression was all used up. I should be able to bear whatever punishment they'd bring on me. But I resented the fact that I'd be putting the people who supported me at risk.
シオン、ばっちゃんに謝った。けじめをつけてみせれば、シオン一人だけの話で全部済む。誰にも迷惑をかけない。
でもミオン、私間違ったこと言った？そんなにも悪いことした？
The moment Mion learned that I wasn't willing to apologize, her expression turned cold again. She turned her back to me and returned to the lounge. I talked back to the hag in a really harsh manner. I told her that I didn't do anything wrong. Yet, I'd involved many people to who I owed so much. It went without saying, this was my responsibility. I was the sole person to blame, and no fault lay with them. Yes, Kasai and Yoshiro-san were blameless, just as Satoshi-kun was. But then, as if she read my mind, Mion turned around and gave a slight nod. It was possible that something was going to happen to Satoshi-kun. On top of Kasai and Uncle Yoshiro.
待って、おね。
That can't happen. Satoshi-kun, I mean, nobody else should be punished. Please forgive them.
何ですか、シオン。
Tears rolled down my cheeks. I no longer cared about my pride.
ごめんなさい。私が間違っていま
I should have said what the hag wanted to hear. Yet she still looked unsatisfied. Maybe that wasn't too surprising. I just denounced her so badly in front of the relatives. She wouldn't forgive me so easily. Just then, Mion spoke as the successor.
ではシオン、どうやってけじめをつけるつもりです？
けじめってどうすれば。
Nothing could be scarier than being told to pay up while standing next to horrid-looking torture devices. I was completely terrified. I couldn't move from the trembling. Mion saw that and whispered to our grandmother. The hag nodded. Mion summoned some young minions and gave them an order. They removed one of the torture devices hanging on the wall, then set a table in front of me and put the device on top of it.
何これ。
爪を剥ぐための道具です。
Ow.
使い方は
You're gonna get acquainted real quick here.
わかるわけないでしょ。
I shook as I stared at the tool. It looked like a giant nail clipper. You probably put the part that looks like a beak between your finger and fingernail, pulling them apart if you squeeze the handle. The chills ran up and down my spine when I imagined that.
爪1枚ずつでシオンがかけた迷惑のそれぞれのけじめとします。園崎シオン。
I'm getting like a little bit of weird audio issues when that got really loud right there as well. I wonder if it's an audio driver problem. You guys gotta let me know if that's if that wasn't supposed to sound like that before.
どの指でも構いません。自らの手で
Ow.
3枚の爪を剥がしてみせなさい。
Could we, I don't know, could we just forgive each other? 3? One for Kasai, one for Uncle Yoshiro, and the last for Satoshi-kun. It was a fairly reasonable number. Is it, though?
本当にそれで他の人は許してくれるんですか。約束し
Well,
て。
that's not comforting.
私がちゃんと自分の爪を剥げたら他のみんなは許すと約束して。
これはあなたのけじめであって、この方法が気に入らないなら。
やるから待って待ってよ。やるから。
I put the device to my little finger while shaking badly. If my fingernail were shorter, it would have been harder. The metal beak captured my little finger beautifully. The subordinates then stabilized my left hand with a different restraining tool. That seemed reasonable because my finger would slip out if it weren't restrained like that. As the subordinates buckled up the leather straps, I realized that this was really happening, and there was no escape. Somewhere in my mind, I'd been thinking that they might forgive me after just the gesture alone. I shouldn't have been so naive. The emotions I'd been holding back appeared in the form of tears and kept rolling down my cheeks. It was like my feelings were being squeezed out until the very last drip. Something even more horrifying followed this. It was the silence that awaited my next action.
で、どうするの。
One of the subordinates pointed to the handle and told me to either squeeze it or hit it. He recommended that the latter would be easier to make it quick. Nobody said anything after that. There was nothing to hear but the sound of my sweat dripping onto the floor. The onlookers were staring at me silently, waiting for me to execute my punishment. Both the hag and Mion, they were also anticipating it. I could refuse, but that meant I wouldn't be paying up. This punishment exists to offer payment in exchange for the safety of those who helped me. If I refused, they would suffer. I don't know about this, Shion. I don't know if I could do this. This seems a bit much. I started breathing heavily. I knew that if I did this, the others would go free. This was, if you thought about it, quite a good deal. If it weren't me, it wouldn't be just 3 fingernails. If it were Kasai, he'd have to sacrifice his little finger, something even worse. I knew that. It was my selfish desire to get away from that school. Why did Kasai have to suffer because of that? I knew that. Why did Uncle Yoshiro have to suffer just because he provided me with a job? I knew that the hag and the other relatives still hated the Hojos. So I didn't know what they'd do to Satoshi-kun if I didn't do this. Would they bring Satoshi-kun here and tell him to do the same? Would they tell him to remove his fingernails in exchange for forgiving me? He'd do it. He'd sacrifice himself with no hesitation in order to save others. My sweat dripped onto the table through my nose. Wait, through your nose? I'd do it, yes. It was only 3 fingernails. It might hurt a lot, but I wouldn't die. The fingernails would grow back. It wouldn't even leave a huge scar. I shouldn't be afraid. The punishment was minimal because it was me. If I refused to do this, the others would be punished much more severely. I couldn't let that happen to Kasai, Uncle Yoshiro, or Satoshi-kun. I was the only one who should be punished. So I just needed to bear the pain. I wasn't just breathing heavily anymore. I was also moaning faintly, ready to scream at any moment. That's right, make it quick. This wasn't torture, so I didn't have to prolong the moment of pain. I should do it in one swift blow. That way my pain and fear would be minimized. I raised my right arm. Quickly. The pain would be lessened if I did it in one stroke. It'd be much more painful if I messed it up. I don't know about this. I held my breath. I felt as if my body was frozen. I was choking. The chills crept up my spine. Don't be afraid, Shion. Fingernails are just a tiny fraction of the whole body. Just 1 square centimeter. I could do this. I could bear it. Whoa. I smacked my right hand onto the handle of the device.